Okay, now let's talk details, because you're not going to be able to get a good grade if you just draw a rectangle for a window. And I definitely don't want to see this either, because I have seen this so many times. There's my window, Mrs. Greasock. Oh, look at that. It looks great. You know, that's how I see windows all the time. That's exactly the way they look. Or maybe even, you know, you can be fancy and like put some more squares in there. Yeah, I'm telling you right now that windows do not look like that. In fact, I have some photos to show you just to prove it. So let me erase all that nonsense. And let's look, first of all, at the one that I'm going to be drawing, which is right here. And if you look at these windows, you're going to notice that there's not just a rectangle. It actually has another line right there. There are two lines at the bottom. One of them is darker than the other one, and it's actually kind of dark inside the window pane there too. But there's actually a board that goes all the way around that window. So you need to do two lines all the way around your window. And right here, this is where the window opens and closes, right? So there's more lines in there too. You're not just going to draw one line across there, because that's not going to look real. And then look at some of these other houses that I have to show you. Look at this window. That's a lot of detail. There's an outside frame, an inside frame. There's even details within the frame because it's a fancy one. And then there are two more lines that outline the white part of that window. There's two lines that go that way that outline that part of the window. And then if you look at some of these windows have curtains in them. Look at that. The curtains are there. We're going to actually deal with that later when we add color. Do not shade your windows yet. All this stuff we're going to do with the fancier pencils, okay? We just want the outlines, but we definitely want the details of the outlines. Let's look at some windows that have more detail. Look at these windows. They actually have little white panes in them. So with this window, you actually have to do an outline for every single pane. There's actually three lines that go down the middle of that window. I think probably because they open like this. It's hard to say, but you know, that's a little bit more than what usually we see on windows. And look at this fanciness. Whoa. You're gonna have to draw a lot of little triangles, some little things in there, and then look at the detail of the door. If you want your house to look kind of fancy, then you're gonna have to draw all those details. If you have this house, by the way, this is it was supposed to be one of the easier houses. You don't have to make your windows this fancy. You can stick with, you know, kind of simple windows like what I have, but it's up to you. Now here's where everybody gets that plus sign from, because there are a lot of windows in this world that look just like these. But if you look closely at these windows, they are quite detailed, and there's like a reflection that's happening in here too, or either that or you can see through to the other window. I'm not sure which. But let's ignore the stuff in the dark areas and just look at the frame. There's one frame, and then there's an inside frame here, and then there's the more inside frame here, and then there's these little rectangles because you got to leave these bars white, they're not black. And then there's an extra little cap on the top too. All of those things need to be drawn. Plus, look at the roof line on this one. There are so many different lines on this roof line. Speaking of roof lines, if you look at the roof line on mine, I realized that on this side of the roof, you could see more of the underneath of it. So there was a line here, there's a line here, and there's a line there. But on this side, there were only two lines, just that one, which is a little darker, and then that one. So on my drawing, I had to show that. Double lines here and then single lines there. Look at your house and decide what you need for your house. But let me... I think I want to do a little fancier window. I can't decide if I want to do this window or if I want to do this kind of window, because I kind of like that window too. And that's similar. It's just a little fancier than the ones that are on my house. I think I'll do this one because I can show you how to make that window look open and closed later. All right, so the first thing you need is an extra frame around your window. I think my windows are kind of big enough the way they are, so I'm gonna add my frame on the inside. So I'm gonna turn my paper like this so that my hand is in a natural position to draw straight lines. And I'm gonna just tidy up this line. Now this is the point where if you feel it necessary to use a ruler, like you could probably use a ruler here and make it good, because you know exactly where those lines are supposed to go. So if you feel more comfortable drawing a straight line with a ruler, you can do that at this point that you know where the lines are supposed to go for sure. Right, so there's the nice outside frame of this window. Now I'm going to draw the inside frame, which is going to be right here. I'm not going to make it a too thick of a frame. Sometimes the thing about drawing freehand that makes it nicer for a drawing like this, a haunted house drawing, is that, yeah, maybe your lines might not be perfectly straight, but guess what? It's going to make the house look a little more dilapidated, maybe a little, you know, broken down, a little scarier. So, you know, it's kind of okay for your lines to not be perfectly straight sometimes. Now, that's the outside frame. Now I need the inside frame of the window. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sash, the bar that goes across first. So this bar I'm going to do, whoops, I need to leave the corners not connected. So the bottom line can go all the way across, the top line comes almost to the edge there. Now this will go up and around on the inside, like that. You can even add a little bump right here that would be like the lock, you know, that would open and close the window. And then the one below is going to be not quite as wide or significant, so I'm just barely going to do this one. For some reason, the one at the top has a thicker, more prominent frame, probably because this one is closer to us, and this pane of glass is on the inside of the house, and this is the pane that goes up and down, right? So this pane stays still all the time, and this one moves. So that's probably why it looks thinner in pictures. So there, that window is a little bit better. Actually, I want to add that like cap on top too, because I think that looks cool. Just add a little texture in there for the window. So you can see how that looks a lot more detailed, a lot more finished than this. This is not hard, you guys. You can do this. Like all I'm doing is drawing some extra lines, and those extra lines make a huge difference in your drawing. This is not something that you can't do because you're not good at drawing. Like you can do this. All you gotta do is add some extra lines in there and be careful about how square they are. Let's try to make this door look good. Same thing, there's gotta be a frame around that door that holds it onto the house. So there's definitely some pieces of wood that go around that. Take your pencil and add those extra little lines that go across there. You can look at some other pictures of houses for ideas on how to do your door. I think probably this door is a little on the skinny side. I think normal doors would probably not be quite this skinny, but we're just gonna go with it because it matches the proportion of our house. Now let's see, this door, I can't really see anything on there. This door is a little too much. I don't think I'm gonna do that. The door that I have, I think is missing. I actually think that in this picture, there's no door there. You could actually see through the house to something else in there. And this is not really a door, those are just shutters, so I gotta make it up. We want a door handle, probably, I don't know, would the door handle be on this side or that side? We'll put it on that side. I'm just gonna do a normal door handle in this house. I don't think this house would have a fancy door handle. This is gonna be kind of a circle, right? You're not gonna see a whole lot, but there will be that like stuff that goes around the door. So here's your door handle. You can kind of shade it a little bit. Don't do too much shading, by the way. We're gonna paint later. And then there's like a little spot for a keyhole right there. So it looks like an actual door handle that has a bracket around it. Let's put a window in the top of the door. We'll put a square window up here. So this square window is gonna have all the same stuff that that window had, sort of. It's not gonna have a cap over the top. But if we had some panes, like if there were 6 panes of glass, so I can very lightly with my pencil just draw the divisions. But remember, those have to be white. So what I'm gonna do to make the panes is I'm gonna draw a rectangle inside of my white lines that are right there, with my sketchy lines that are going to be white. Again, this would be a place where if you want to use a ruler, you can. You could even measure. You can see how I didn't divide the space perfectly because my middle window, or my middle pane is a little wider than the other ones. But That's okay. It's a haunted house. It's fine. Whoever built this door, you know, maybe it was a ghost. I don't know. They didn't know what they were doing. That's fine. It looks like a door with some window panes. That's how you want to do it, so that you have the white frames around, okay? So let's zoom out so you can see kind of what it's starting to look like. So you can see that my two details that I have, the door and the window, are looking much nicer than the rest of it. Keep going like that. If you want to add some curtains or something in there, you can lightly sketch them. Please do not shade them. There's some cool things I'm going to show you later with shading on the curtains.